All right. I think we're loading everybody in now. Excellent. I am so excited for this panel today, you guys. I need this panel personally as much as I want it for everybody else. So this is a selfish moment. I'm a demon or a devil right now, so I can say that I can be selfish. I wanted to tell you a few quick things before I introduce our panelists here. Apologies for delaying the panel, but it's our final day. We only have 4 hours left to GISH your hearts out and get as many items as you can done in the space of time that we have. So submit your items early, submit your photos and videos as soon as you can. Don't wait until the last minute. We're going to be talking next after this panel about cryptids and supernatural creatures with Rhys Darby and his company with the Cryptid Factor. They're a great podcast talking about cryptid creatures, which I love. They're obsessed with the supernatural creatures that live in the world and trying to hunt them down and seek them out. Not hunt them down as in hunt them, but find them because they are lovers of these creatures. And then at 3:30, we are going to have a really important panel with Misha Collins and very special guests, some esteemed guests, talking about the scary stories coming from voting and the polls. It's a must watch. And then we'll go straight into closing ceremonies right after that in the same Zoom link. The Zoom links are in your item list, so please check that out. Other than that, we have Change a Life. We launched Change a Life last night, a bit later than usual at night, and the response has been stunning. We are over $30,000 now for that Change a Life, which Rachel, who will be joining us here, can speak to as well. So thank you for everyone who supported. If you haven't gotten people to donate, please get 10 or more people to donate just the minimum amount possible if you can. We know people are facing different struggles right now. And there's a thread in the bunker. If you're a team looking to donate or looking for donations, there's a thread to support that as well in the Facebook group for GISH, the GISH bunker. But be creative, guys. If something's costing money to create it, think about it in a different way. Lateral thinking, use what you have. You know, if we ask to see Freddy Krueger embracing Jason, you know, in a hug, you can just, you know, get some duct tape and strap those butter knives to your fingers. We don't, you know, it's more about having fun and enjoying yourself than it is about spending money and using up resources that you need. So just remember that. Finally, if you have a basic GISH membership registration for this event, you are sending 6 months of access to clean water through UNICEF to someone in need. If you upgrade to the upper tier, however, you can send over 2 years worth of clean water access. So if you have the resources and you'd like to help out and help someone have access to clean water for a long time, the WHO says something like 1 in 3 people does not have clean water access. So just know that that's also happening as well. But I'm going to stop talking because it's already 12:07 and this panel is going to be incredible. I want to pull it out here. Let's see if we can go. All right, here we are. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to go around the room really quickly. I apologize. I'm going to try to get out of here as quickly as possible. Dr. Ali Mattu, thank you for joining us today. It was so great to see you with Misha Collins before discussing some of these topics as well. Dr. Ali is an amazing human being. He has a show called The Psych Show where he takes mental health and science and applies it in a way that is really easy to understand and really simple and weaves in pop culture and, you know, student assemblies and things. And you're really a great human being and resource to people, a very esteemed expert. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me back.
Of course. And then we've got Lisa Berry. Lisa, I've never had to look death straight in the face before. I'm a little frightened, but I think that's what today is about. Thanks for being here. You are obviously an amazing actress and entrepreneur, but you're also, you work at coaching people and helping people in the wellness space. You have a lot of work behind the camera and around the camera helping people. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We've got Nicki Aycox. Hi, Nicki.
Hi.
You are also helping people and coaching people on these topics. So we're so excited for you to be here. And for you, I mean, this is for such a devilish group, you're such great human beings helping people. This is weird. I almost feel like you have to be a really cool human being to play a really terrible demon. I don't know, maybe.
Maybe that's how it works out. I don't know. Hi, everyone.
Thanks so much for being here. And then we've got the fairy queen herself, Rachel Miner, you know who Rachel is. She's the executive director of RandomX. She's an intellectual, reads more books than any person I've ever met in my life. Is sitting near books because it's sort of like her security blanket. How are you, Rachel?
It is. Books are keeping me sane somewhat. But mostly I just am moved beyond words and crying all the time with joy, watching what Gishers are doing with the change of life. This is incredible. You're going to help so many people. And I think we all know right now, so many people are hurting in so many ways. There is not a single area where we aren't in need of support. And I think we all need the moral support to know that our lives matter. And that's what I see every day when we're doing these acts of kindness, is it's not just about bringing someone food or security or warmth or whatever they need. It's about saying their life actually matters in this world. When our healthcare systems are overloaded and people are, being laid off, et cetera, we need to know that there are people who care. And
Incredible.
You're showing people that.
It really is. And so thank you to everyone who's donated so far and getting other people to donate. That fund is going to do a great deal for people, where you can actually sign up or apply for it for other people. And if you see someone struggling or in need of some kind of assistance, they can really get it. So thank you, Rachel, for that fund and for those that hard work.
We're doing more programs too, where we're finding small organizations that are doing really good work locally, but might be struggling. And we're trying to help keep those afloat as well, all over the world.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna get out of here, and Dr. Ali, you can have more time because I've spent so much time getting everybody up to date. Please don't feel like you're rushed here. I'd rather have a great conversation. But I'm gonna pop back in at the end with your GISH challenge and to close things out. But so guys, take it away. Enjoy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you,
for all you're
Charlie.
doing.
Thank you for that warm introduction. And I feel a little anxious here myself. I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a group therapy for demons and death. This is like a new one for me. So thank you, Rachel, Lisa, and Nicki, for being here. And then thank you all to all the Gishers for everything you're doing and for showing up. I think we're going to have a lot of fun and learn a little bit about how to get through this really strange, difficult time we're all in. So I just want to get started and just kind of check in with you all. How are you doing today? How are you today?
I'll jump in right away. I've sobbed multiple times today. I tried to, get my self-care and my exercises in, and I was sobbing on the elliptical. I find these things very needed these days. But I try to kind of like purge that energy and accept that it's there, and I think we're all sharing in it. And honestly, I don't even know what's mine and others anymore. But I think to live in a world where so many people are struggling is a lot, and we have to learn how to confront it and what to do with that. And that's why I'm very, very grateful to be talking to you.
Sometimes a good sob is all we need. Sometimes it's about sadness and loss. Sometimes it's about pain relief. And one of the things that I've learned over the last few years, sometimes sadness is just about a release. You're holding so much in, and you just need a good cry. I've had many of those, at least recently as well. Lisa and Nicki, how are you doing today?
I'll let you go, Nicki.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm doing very well. Lots of yoga, lots of meditation is really what gets me through my days right now, because I can be very sensitive to people hurting and the things that are happening. And this year, I just sort of really amped that up and dove very deeply into meditation. And that is keeping me nice, somewhat happy space. I'm learning now meditation has become more about just coping rather than always feeling good, which I would like for it to always be feeling good. But I think I learned a big lesson with that. So I'm feeling pretty good this morning because I got everything in.
That's awesome, Nikki. So that's one of the things I've had to do this year is a lot of my old coping skills might not have been working well. So I
Yeah.
started to experience a lot of insomnia, and I learned I had to do a lot of stretching and body relaxation stuff at night to try to get myself into a space where I could even fall asleep. So I hear you about trying to learn new coping skills. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't have any control right now. And, I think everybody gets into meditation and yoga and things because I want to feel good and this is what I should do for myself. And it should, but, when there's so much environmentally struggle in the world, it does become about doing it so that you can strengthen coping skills and learn new ones because you'll find that some of your old ones don't work. So I feel like this year's been a very big learning experience, but a struggle because I didn't realize, I still have so much to learn.
Yeah.
But
Lisa, how about yourself? How are you doing?
I'm taking it one day at a time, and I can relate to everything everyone is talking about. I completely agree. Needing to rejig all of our mental health practices because what was of service, a year ago, 2 years ago, just doesn't work right now. And I really do think that's because the energy around the planet is getting faster and faster and faster. And so learning to have internal discernment, being able to calm the storm within will really help us deal with the outside world. And, from everything from the pandemic to the racial tension that's just continues to bubble up to the surface, it's a real reminder that we've never had control, ever. We've never, ever actually been in control of anything. And so a lot of people, myself included, feel like they're being Heimlicked into like some of the most intense spiritual practices, like being present, being mindful, taking things one day at a time, because we just haven't had to do that. We've had the luxury of, I'm going to plan my week out, I'm going to plan my month out, I'm going to plan my year out. And so I'm ready to go. I got my 2020 fixed. And then everything came tumbling down. And we were all like, what do you mean I got to take it one day at a time? I don't know how to do this. And so I've been ramping up just like you guys, doing more meditation and really trying to get back into a flow. And I just had a baby. And so it's not as easy. And for me, I'm at this state. At first, I went through the resistance phase, which is a very important part of the process. And now I'm in the phase of rebuilding the consistency muscle of just like, for me, it's not even, I'm not even at the stage where I can work out. Like, good on you guys. I love that you guys are doing yoga. But right now I'm literally just showing up every day and getting on my mat and just working through my joints. And if that's all I can do, that's all I can do. But it's not about working out. It's not about, getting stronger. It's not about losing weight. It's really about building up the consistency muscle in my mind so that I'm able to have the long journey ahead be something that I can do. So ultimately, I'm taking it one day at a time and doing okay.
I think there's so much wisdom in what you just shared, Lisa. Which, as a representative of death, I imagine you would have many years of wisdom. And one word that leaps out to me, based on what you just said, is compassion. We all need so much compassion, not only for each other, but for ourselves right now about how hard it is to be a human being in this time, and how Lisa, you're absolutely right. The layers of control that we thought we had have kind of been unraveled. So we have to be very compassionate for ourselves and what we can do and what we can't do, and that's okay. It's okay if we're not able to meet those high standards we had of ourselves because this is a tough time. Um, this is a really, you all have already kind of answered my next question here, but I'm wondering about what you're doing to take care of yourselves. I'm talking about sleep, about food, hydration, basic movements. You can't take on your inner demons if you're not prepared, if you're not nourishing yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself. So I'm just kind of wondering for all of you, what are some things that you found over the course of this year that do help you to take care of yourself, make sure you're nourished and ready for the challenges of the day?
I love that. I love where this conversation has gone, because I have found the most important thing is to find that compassion and self-love. And it's also the hardest thing. I feel like, a lot of us are wired into this idea that we have to earn love and earn compassion. And we do so by the statistics of the day. And that's something I know Lisa and I have talked about, because it's something I've been confronting, not just in this stretch, but having multiple sclerosis and having difficulties where literally I can work 10 times as hard and get a fraction of what I got done the day before done. And just allowing myself to feel love anyway, allowing myself to have that compassion, forgiveness. And there's I think a false thing that a lot of us have mentally, which is that if we don't have this, value set, this metric that gains us love and respect, we'll get lazy. We won't do things. We won't accomplish things. But I think it's the exact opposite. I actually think that our fears and our self-hatred and everything is often what is weighing us down and slowing us down. And that if we could just find that supportive love, unconditional love for ourselves, we actually could accomplish more, and judge ourselves less and judge others less. I don't think it's possible to be truly, truly loving to others, to practice loving kindness for others in the world, unless we can accept and love ourselves. So that's been my main focus. And I'm really, part of that is I'm trying to make sure I am well fed and I get my sleep, and build boundaries of things like, you know what, I used to schedule calls where it was one on top of another, and now I'm saying I need a 15-minute break between. Whatever it is that is your need, so that you can actually show up and be there for others, I think is really important.
Thank you, Rachel. I love that.
Same.
Yeah,
You wanna go ahead, Lisa? Oh,
yeah.
you want to answer?
Yeah, I can relate to everything Rachel's saying. And like she said, we do talk about this a lot. But I think these are such important conversations to have, and everybody should have friends with health benefits, because you really need it to sustain yourself in this world, now more than ever. And I know we keep hearing everybody say now more than ever, but now more than ever, we really do need to have people who can show themselves that kind of compassion and take those moments for themselves when they need it. And I've myself have had to make a few self-honoring choices where people want more than I'm able to give, and I have to be able to really find discernment within myself and say, what can I actually do though that will make me not domino, a whole bunch of negative thoughts because I gave away my power in one way or another. And so for me, a way that I'm really, really dealing with it, and then anybody who follows me knows, I really focus on breathing. And I know it seems so redundant because everyone's like, but we breathe in to stay alive. What are you talking about? But I've, I had a conversation with my brother-in-law, and I was just like, when you just tell someone to breathe without really giving them specific instructions, like breathe into your heart, breathe into your lower back, where do you feel tension? How can you release it? Find space with the breath in that area. It's like telling someone to run on a treadmill and eat chips at the same time. One cancels the other out, because breathing in and of itself, if you're not aware of where in your body specifically needs to be released or opened up, the breath that you're giving tightens that area, because you're just giving a whole bunch of breath to the areas that already have space to receive it, versus zeroing in on specifically where the tension in your body physically is. And with the work that I do, It's a lot of how do you zero in on where the physical tension is in your body so you can release it. And that shifts your energy into a place where you now open yourself to having access to new thoughts, new solutions, new ways of seeing something, because that tension in your neck or the tension in your back or the curling of your toes or the clenching of your butt cheeks, you know, puts you in a certain state that makes it hard for you to see a solution or to see another way around or to have a different idea about something or how something could be serving you rather than happening to you. And so for me, it's my lower back. I just had a baby, that makes sense. But for me, I really need to be conscious of creating space in that area. And the more that I do that, the more I'm able to release the tension that's there. And then things in my mind open up and I'm not complaining to myself. I'm not trying to finish arguments in my head. I'm not trying to get the last word or be right. You know, I'm able to look for a solution where I get to choose happiness or I get to choose joy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Total sense.
Okay.
I mean, inside I'm going, yes, 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 yeah.
I
Okay.
think I finished so many arguments with random people on the internet. That was none of my business. It was none of my business, you know? I mean, I finally hit a point where I said, this is not working, and you can't be walking around arguing with people in your head. This isn't the way life is meant to be. And I love what both you and Rachel said, and so I'm going to let it kind of sit there with that, because I agree with you both, but I will tell you some things that I finally switched my attitude and really worked hard. Starting, I guess, in March, my husband and I started quarantining kind of end of January. And when I noticed this is going to be a long process, I started working with food and herbs and the yoga and all of those things to find instant things I can do that can help calm me instantly, because I suffer from severe anxiety and I have my whole life. So I really had to find that. But one of them was I was doing that. I would go on, you know, I took a break from social media. I haven't been on it all year, and I'm sorry for everyone. I am going to go back on it. But I had to take a step back, because I would get on social media and I would see 10 to 15 things within a 5-minute span that when I would go hike after, my brain would just be reeling and arguing, and I should have said this, or I should have whatever. So I did go off of that, and it's not, you know, not everyone can go off of social media for an entire year, and I understand that. But definitely limiting the times that you go on and choosing them wisely, like not making it the first thing you do in the morning, getting up and instead getting up and spending some time being grateful and thinking about the things that you are going to be grateful for during this day. Rather than get up and jumpstart your brain into Facebook and all the fighting, because we see 15 to 20 things just looking at Facebook once that's upsetting, and then we spend the rest of our day thinking about that, rather than the things that we do have. Like so getting up a little early, maybe taking 30 minutes just to be grateful and sit by yourself and really be grateful for your friends and your family, or maybe your pets, can instantly help calm that panic, and to make sure you get very centered to the sounds around you, where you're at in this moment, so you can tell yourself you're safe and you will be safe today. The other one is a little trick is magnesium. If anybody can take magnesium, sometimes I like to juice kale, but magnesium instantly slows the heart rate down. So if you're getting into a huge panic and you're feeling all tight and wound up, if you've had something to eat, then you can just take a little magnesium, and that will really help instantly. And take 5 breaths, and that will help. And to be aware of what you put in your body, because I've learned things like sugar can just trigger my anxiety, or and so sometimes we're also putting things in our body that we don't understand is chemically pressing our anxiety buttons. I too much ketchup can make me anxious, but so those are just some things to, like, very simple, easy things that if you ever start to panic, you can kind of turn to immediately to just stop and kind of get a breath and get that feeling to stop enough so that you can work through it and cope.
Love that.
And
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, please go ahead, Rachel.
There was just something I wanted to say, which is with all of this, I think it's really important that we don't feed those demons of kind of self-judgment either. The point of all these practices is to love and care for ourselves. But if we use it to like fuel our self-hatred of like, I'm not being successful because I still am feeling pain, or I'm still feeling tightness, and why is my anxiety still there, or whatever, and then we berate ourselves, that's not using it properly. I think it has to be grounded in the self-love and the self-forgiveness, and wherever you get to, that is okay, and that is beautiful, and well done for trying. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to say is the core tension in mental health is always towards compassion and change. That you need both. You can't have one without the other. You have to come to terms with all of the reasons why we might be in the situation we are, and only then is change possible. So much of what we just discussed is about really the basics of cluing into who you are and what you need in this moment. And that's been a big part of my 2020. Lisa, you mentioned your lower back. For me, it's my upper back and my shoulders. So I have a young daughter, and she likes to be held like right here, and so I could partially blame her, but when I'm stressed, it's all up like that. So I've done things like I have to like get this like $10 cushion for my back, and like a back roller, and just really listen to my body and what it needs. And so these are wonderful strategies, and keeping them basic, I think, is what we need for 2020. Is really listening to ourselves, what we need, and focus on the fundamentals. And then I want to ask you all this question. So there's a lot to be anxious about right now. There's a lot to be fearful of, and that's something I know is a big theme of today as well. Of what GISH is doing is about facing these fears. And one of the things that I've learned in my work is real courage, like the definition of courage. It's not about being fearless. It's about being afraid and facing the thing that is making you afraid. That's what courage and bravery is all about, and I think that's a wonderful theme throughout Supernatural as well. So I'm wondering, what is something that you all are working on in terms of facing your fears this week, this month, and what can we learn from that, and what can we take away from that might help us to face some of our fears as well.
For me, I think the most grounding thing is empathy and working with Random X, and having outlets where I feel like I'm connected to others, that it's never just about me alone trying to help myself. I feel like by helping myself, I am helping others too, and vice versa. That there is, by having an outlet where I can keep focus as well on the fact that all of us as human beings are experiencing trials in different ways. And the more I learn to navigate through my trials, the better I can help others navigate through theirs. And I think that is the grounding force for me that helps me confront things that might be difficult to confront.
I love that, Rachel, because as Lisa said earlier, there's so much we don't have in our control. So focusing on what you can control, staying true to your values, making some difference in the world and in your local community can be one great way to help us ride out all of the storms that are coming our way this year. Yeah. Lisa, what about you?
You know, the hardest part of change is making a different choice than you did the day before. And for me, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was like, "Ooh, child, I knew it was going to be hard." And she was like, "You said that like 7 times that you knew it was going to be hard." And I was like, "Oh, right." And I'm very big on the language that I use. And she was like, "Do you really want it to be hard though?" And I was like, "Not really." But I do know I know something is up. And so we spent about a good 2 minutes just really kind of being like, well, what's another way of looking at this, instead of looking at it like, I knew it was going to be hard. And we together came up with a new mantra, which was, I knew I was going to have to be present. Because just to give you a quick story, I right now, trying to eat healthy again, like Nicki's talking about, because what you put in your body is really going to have an effect on you. And of course, I woke up and like there was a bag of cookies completely finished sitting next to me, and I was like, how did that happen? Who had those cookies? And I realized that I just checked out. Like I just checked out because there were a lot of steps along the way that I just didn't let myself be present to. Like I had to get up off of my couch. I had to put on my shoes. I had to take my wallet. I had to open a door. I had to walk down a hallway. I had to press a button, get on an elevator, go all the way down, walk down the street, go to a convenience store, pick out my choice of cookies, go to the till, pay for it, walk all the way back, open the door, put my bag down, take off my shoes, sit back on the couch and start eating. And I was not aware of any of this until I was like, they're done. And then I came back into my body and I was like, I knew I was gonna have to be present. And I just became so aware of how not present I was in a lot of areas in my life, especially when it came to food at this stage in my life, which was never something I had to really worry about, but this is a new phase of my life. And I've just come off of having a baby and cravings and catering to whatever I wanted to eat, to now you don't want to be eating whatever you want to eat. You want to be, you know what I mean, in that realm. And so the words that really resonate for me right now are, I knew I would have to be present. And so in those moments where I'm like, I want to have cookies, I stop and I go, you're not going to die, because my body is reacting as if it thinks I'm going to die if I don't have cookies. And so I'm like, just remember, you're just sitting on a couch. You're not on a ledge. You're not about to drive into a wall. You're sitting on a couch. Remember to feel your feet. Remember to feel the couch supporting you right now. Just take a breath. Breathe into that tense space, wherever that is. Allow yourself to just settle within yourself and find a safe and sacred place deep within, and just be present to this moment right now, because that's all you actually have to be right now. And 9 times out of 10, it really does help keep me in a present state of mind that makes me go, oh, okay, whew. And now I made a wholesome meal for myself and I feel better, and I feel good about my choices. And then the domino of that is a week later, like putting $10 in every day, I'm guaranteed to have money in the bank. I'm guaranteed to feel good, rather than, I don't know what's happening. I wasn't aware of anything. Did I deposit money into the bank? Should I have money in the account? So it's kind of like the same thing, where it's like, if you're not conscious about the money you're putting into your savings, if you're not conscious about the good energy you're sending into yourself, you can't really know that it'll be there for you when you need it, because that's strength and that stamina of the mind only comes from the consistency of being diligent with, every day I'm going to choose to love myself. Every day I'm going to choose to be present. I'm going to allow love into my life.
And I love that you separated out the body or the tensions and emotions. I have conversations with myself in that way all the time. I don't know if anyone else finds that helpful, but there's things, especially having a neurological illness, my body will go into a full mode where it's like, and I'm dying and I'm hurtling, I'm falling and whatever, and I'm never going to survive falling off this cliff. And it's like, no, you're fine. and being able to have those coming moments and know there's a difference between things you might be experiencing hormonally, emotionally, physically, versus kind of the knowledge at the core of you that you are safe and you can be present, and we can laugh at this and we will make it through.
Yeah, Rachel and Lisa, you're both talking about finding the courage to be in that present moment, which might be the biggest act of bravery that any human can really can really undergo. Nicki, I'm going to give you the last word here. How are you facing your inner demons this week?
Well, we all have something, you know, we all have something that things we choose to do to keep from feeling uncomfortable in the moment. And this year's been very big for me. I had said that I had made some changes in how I cope. And one of them has been incredibly helpful. It's actually helped me see this whole year as it's not ideal, and it's definitely not another year I'd want to repeat. But I've learned something positive from the experience, which is what Lisa was saying, is it's time to just slow down and be present. And I learned, I've been doing meditation now really strongly for 5 years, and I had no idea that I really, every time I sat down on my mat, I was present way less than I thought I was. So I really took the time to learn how to just do that. I limited it. I said, let's just learn that first right now, even if it takes the whole year. One of the things that I found is that I'll go eat too. I'll eat something unhealthy, or if I start to feel uncomfortable, I have a lot of little things that I will rush and do. And maybe it's get on the computer, maybe it's clean my kitchen. That's a big one when it doesn't need to be cleaned. But I have a lot of little habits that when I start to get worked up and I start to feel uncomfortable inside, I will run and do those just to take my mind away from feeling uncomfortable. So what I've been doing this year is sitting with that uncomfortable feeling, no matter what it is. And the moment that I say I should clean my kitchen, I say, no, you don't need to clean the kitchen. You need to sit with this uncomfortable moment and find out what it's going to teach you. And it's a very hard thing to do. But what I learned is that there's an underlying cause for all of it. There's something that triggers us all, that causes us to go to these habits that we don't necessarily want to be doing. If you take the example of eating, let's say we have a difficult relationship with a family member, but we talk to this family member once every month, you know, and a week leading up to the phone call, we start eating a bunch, or we start, you know, we want donuts because we don't want to feel uncomfortable. And for us, those donuts, you know, are what just makes us think we feel more comfortable in that moment. And then we put on 7 pounds up until the phone call, you know, and it's kind of like what I've learned from being able to sit with my uncomfortable moments is to actually pinpoint what the underlying cause is, so that I can actually focus on how to help myself feel better about that underlying cause, so the craving for the habits doesn't creep in. Because, you know, we could sit there on New Year's Eve and make a goal and say, I want to lose 50 pounds this year, and I want to not eat donuts this year. But if we ignore and avoid the underlying cause that makes us eat the donuts in the first place, we're probably going to eat the donuts. And it's okay. It's okay that we do it, because everybody does it, and it's just a normal part of life. So that's really what I've been focused on this year, is trying to make myself sit through these uncomfortable moments without turning to my habits, so that I can get more perspective and clarity about what's causing me to do these habits in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's been helpful, but it's not always pleasant when you figure it out.
Nicki, I so connect with what you're saying. That's a goal for me this week. I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety about not knowing, and when that happens, I want to go to the news. I want to go to social media. I want to do all these things that are distracting. But for me, the goal this week, my inner demon, is focus on connection, not distraction. Whether that's connection to myself, my friends, or family. I think that's my goal for this week to get me through. Charlie, I want to bring you back in here. We got you've got some a challenge for all of us to apply some of this.
Yeah, are you ready for this? This is actually, we are really excited about this one. So let me make sure everybody can see. Can everybody see Berto, our interpreter, and the challenge? I'll make sure. So the challenge, which will go up in the list shortly, is an image that you have to submit to us, which is using double exposure photography Take a photo of you facing down your inner demon and defeating it or coming to terms with it. That is your challenge. This will be added into the list shortly. And then I also just wanted to make sure everybody has an opportunity to go and follow these amazing people. This was like emotional tech support. It was, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Lisa and Nicki and Dr. Ali and Rachel. This has been such a soul affirming thing going into the next week. I feel like we could all use. So please go follow them. Subscribe to Dr. Ali's YouTube channel, The Psych Show as well. Follow everybody here. These will be also posted elsewhere. And this video will be put up on YouTube later for everyone who's wondering. And for everyone else who's been asking the question, GISH finishes at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Panelists, amazing human beings, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. And I hope you guys have a sustainable week. And I hope you all find those connections that we can all bring into hopefully this new phase in our lives that's coming soon. So thanks again to all of our panelists so much. And Gishers, get out there and finish up strong and take care of yourselves. Hydrate, self-care, and check out all these amazing people on social media and their platforms. All right. Bye, everybody.
So much.
Bye, guys.
Everyone.